Hi guys, my name is Tinashe and welcome back to All Things Finance and Productivity. It is always such a pleasure to have you guys on board. Thank you for joining me this week. So today what we're just going to be talking about is setting better goals. I know at times goal setting can be a bit, how do I put it? It can be a bit draining. If you are like me and you are in formal employment whereby you have to set your goals for the year, etc. At times you're setting those goals and then you're just looking at them and thinking, wow, this is a big thing, right? There's something so big, the expectation is so huge that now you start even doubting yourself, you start questioning yourself, and at times you start even feeling anxious at what you have to be achieving for the whole year. What we're just talking about is just reflecting that to our own personal selves, right? At times, there's some people who just sail through lives without making any goals for themselves. And that is okay. People are different. But today, what I just want to speak to is just to set better metrics and not to sort of move away from that goal approach to more of a growth approach. Because that is actually something that will help you ascertain your growth from point A to point B. At times when you're working just towards your goal might be to paint your nails, but you see, the overall picture was for self-care, right? So for self-care, there are a couple of things that you need to be doing so that you feel a certain way. So what we're just looking at is a situation whereby you're moving away from just sort of like a goal approach to sort of like a growth approach. I will give credit to a book that I just recently read. It is called Leadership and it is from John Maxwell. I will do a review on that book so that we can all learn together, because I feel like, especially for me this is the year that I really want to grow in terms of my knowledge base. It doesn't need to be say anything business etc, but something that will just make me be a bit more knowledgeable, be a better global citizen, if I must say, and just to increase my knowledge base. I know for the last couple of years things have not been easy for people with reference to just self-growth, self-care etc, because of all these things that has been happening. It has really affected us, and I think we have generally now become a bit self-aware with reference to at least our lives and what we want and where we want to go. So that's why I think for this video it is timely, because we've just come from the new year and people are making goals, people are making vision boards etc. Well and good, but like what I'm saying, a growth approach I feel like is a better metric to be using when you are setting your goals. One thing that we can talk about is how, if it's a growth approach with reference to your goals, you're essentially looking at the development. You're not looking at the achievement. Yes, I've painted my nails, then what? So if you're looking at it from a growth perspective, you're looking at now you're looking at the development. If say my intention was to grow with reference to my knowledge base, which is something that I've just mentioned, so maybe my goal might be to read one book every single month, right? And what that might look like might be, yes, I've read a book, then what? Ultimately, what are you looking at? So it's just that distinction, so that whatever it is that you put in as your goal, it's not just about achieving it, because you might read that book and then forget everything that you've read, right? So your goal should be that bit of just increasing your knowledge base, and then ensuring that whatever it is that you've managed, if you've spent time on it, make sure that it counts for something, So that's one thing that we need to just be looking at when we are just thinking about setting our goals and just encompassing that growth perspective to it. A growth mindset also just makes you zero in on stretching, At times when you have goals, you might just set yourself very easy goals, but what you want to do is to stretch. If I could run a 10-kilometer marathon, maybe next time you try do 12 kilometers, right? So that you're stretching yourself, you're not just zeroing yourself on what you need to do at that particular moment in time, because at times that is one thing that actually does hinder our growth. You focus on the things that you can do at that particular moment in time. I can have a goal in my kitchen for me to be baking I don't know, like a lemon cake every weekend, right? But now I've not stretched myself to say, okay, so now I'm good at this lemon cake. Why don't I try making a chocolate cake, So that you keep stretching yourself. You keep stretching yourself. By the time you're done with yourself, you're like, wow, I have grown. I have developed. Is this me? You're even shocked at yourself. So a growth perspective just makes you look at, stretching and not just achieving something. Because at times you might set goals that are very easily achievable for yourself just to mask disappointment. You don't want to be disappointed. But now if it's a stretching perspective, you're stretching yourself and you're also being kind to yourself. Remember, you're also being kind to yourself because in your head, you have that development mindset. It's not just achieving. The other thing that will make you set better goals is just not thinking about, okay, I have finished it, I have sort of like arrived, but it's looking at a target of whereby you're saying you have grown, you're not the same anymore, you have grown. So that's one thing that you just need to incorporate as you are setting your goals, and then making sure that you think about the growth that is embedded in whatever it is that you want to be doing. So there are a couple of things that you need to embrace in this journey, right? As you're setting goals, it should not just end there. Because remember, we're talking about having that mindset and incorporating it closely together with growth, right? So there's certain things that you need to encompass. For starters, change. You need to not be rigid, right? You need to not be rigid because change is embedded in all aspects of our life. At times, for some people, you really avoid change. You really, really do avoid change because at times it makes you be anxious. You take a step back and you're like, okay, oh, what's wrong with this? So you need to have that mindset of, okay, change, I can shift this around for me to be able to keep my goal. Like say, for example, you set your goal to be running every single day in the morning because ultimately what you want to do is to run the marathon. See, that's your growth objective. So there's certain things that you need to do beforehand to prepare for that, right? So say, for example, if you don't manage to run that day because you had to do A, B, C, D, for some people, they really feel bad, like it's not manageable. That might not be a very good example because there are other, I think, big examples that you can use, but that's just a sense to just say, you know what, you need to be someone who embraces change, someone who embraces just tailor making whatever it is that they're working towards so that they can get to their ultimate growth objective. The other thing is you need to really be someone who embraces and welcomes constructive criticism. Some people do not like to be criticized at all. They feel like they are being demeaned. They feel like they're not being respected. They feel all manner of things, but that is not the case. Constructive criticism always should have a place when someone has that growth mindset. Constructive criticism is actually good for you to be able to grow, because if someone does not give you feedback, then how do you know that what you're doing is actually going to get you to where you need to be? So at times you might say that, oh yeah, it's not welcome, because some people do not, some people like to just criticize, right? But for me, I like someone who criticizes and gives me an alternative. Okay, so you're saying this, what are you suggesting? What are you recommending? Because like for me, that is the basis of criticism that is constructive. So even you practice it. When you are criticizing someone, give them a recommendation, give them a suggestion, because it is just not right for you to just criticize for the sake of criticizing, right? And there are so many people who do that. So anyway, let's just take a step back to just say what we're meaning is just be a person who embraces constructive criticism. The other thing that I need to say, of which I think I touched on it just a bit earlier on, is just to be kinder with yourself. Be kinder with yourself. It's not the end of the world if, say, you have not managed to meet your goal. it's not the end of the world when, say, you have not managed to do something that you had intended to do. Really, be kinder to yourself. Be kinder to yourself. Probably you're not able to do it because you're not in the mental space that you need to be for you to be able to do that thing. So just be a bit kinder to yourself. You know, the thing is, if you're not kind to yourself, then who's going to be kind to you? Because let's just be honest, the world out here is really not that kind. So if you yourself, you're not being kind to your mind, being kind to your whole essence, being kind to your body, then really, who do you expect to be kind to you? So just be a bit kinder. Be kinder to yourself. And I feel like at times, the way you reflect, if you're kind to yourself, it's easy for you to be kinder to other people as well. Because I mean, it's something that you practice every single day. So make that a conscious effort to always be kind to yourself. The other thing that you need to also encompass is to have that thing of relations and relationships. What this will actually help you is to enhance that growth mindset that you have in your mind. It's not just all about you when you're looking at your goals and where you want to achieve, what you want to achieve, etc. Incorporate that human element of things so that you can incorporate any instances of building better relationships. Creating roots or enhancing the roots that were already there with reference to your relationships, etc. Like I said, if you're kinder to yourself, it's easier for you to be kinder to the people who are around you. If you're mean to yourself, you're very stingy to yourself, it's very easy for you to be the same when it comes to other people. So that's just something that you just need to incorporate going forward. As you are marrying in your goals, that should essentially be linked to your growth. Then there's one statement that I think for me resonates so much. It resonates so well with me because this is something that I also struggle with, and I'm sure maybe the person who's also watching me, from wherever it is you're coming from, wherever it is you are, you might also be struggling with this. And this is the statement, and I've taken it from that book because I feel like that statement is gold. It is gold, gold, gold. So they say action reduces fear and increases courage. So if you act on it, then really you are going to be more courageous and you're going to be a bit more bold with reference to whatever it is that you're working towards, and ultimately you'll be able to do it. So I think that's just a few tips from this video. Let's incorporate, let's bring together all these things. When you're setting your goals, let's just have that growth objectives in mind as well, so that we can do better. So guys, let me know in the comment section below what your thoughts are with reference to this video. If you have anything to suggest, I welcome them in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for your time. Make sure that you take care of yourself and you also take care of your loved ones. Thank you. Bye.